We apologize for the technical difficulties. My name is Eric Hansen. I'm the Director of Housing Administration.
And I'm Kara Bauer. I'm the Director of Residential Education.
And there's three things on your script that are wrong, and we're going to kind of address those kind of in a general way today. Two of them are big deals, and one of them is a kind of a small deal. One of the big deals is that we are going to be launching a sophomore success program, sophomore live-on program requirement, starting for the students who are starting to apply this fall. And we'll get into that a little bit more. The other is our meal plans are changing, or potentially changing quite a bit, and so we still have some internal meetings that we have to have before we can kind of articulate exactly what that looks like. So it would be best for you in the next few weeks anyways to just not say anything in detail about the meal plans other than they'll be required for freshmen and optional for non-freshmen. So more details about numbers and types and everything else, that's still to come. And then the third thing that will change is that we also offer quads in Zura Hall. So we say single, doubles, and triples in your script, and we'll actually also have about 136 quad beds that we have available. So we'll get more information as soon as that information is solidified. We will get that to Michelle and Frankie so that you have the latest script. So we're going to go through a PowerPoint presentation pretty quickly. So many of you know that housing and res ed are kind of two different entities. Really, it's actually more than just two. So res ed, or residential education office, housing administration office, housing facility services, domestic shops, SDSU dining, and third-party vendors. These are the entities that operationally run our housing and dining program. So when I created this slide the first time, I put REO at the top. I didn't do that intentionally at the first time, but truly, it does make sense for it to be at the top because it's what differentiates us from Acme Apartments or some other kind of housing off campus. So REO does all the live-in programs, the support, the judicial aspects. They're the ones who really kind of make the residence halls a home away from home in a lot of ways for our students. We do the business side. We kind of are behind the scenes, create the palette, if you will, for REO to be successful. We operate the budget and everything else. Housing facility services, we basically contract with the university to do our facility services, but it's a dedicated team of housing facility services doing all the maintenance custodial. Aztec Shops actually owns some properties, so University Towers is owned by Aztec Shops, Piedra del Sol, and then what we're calling the techs, Zapatec, Toltec, Raztec, all of Alberts College are owned by Aztec Shops. And then as a subsidiary, we contract with SDSU Dining to provide a residential meal plan for our students. And then there's a bunch of other folks who kind of help us behind the scenes with operations custodial. So Aztec Shops will hire companies like American Campus Communities and Energy Properties. You don't need to know those names, but just know that there's other folks out there who kind of operate the housing situation. On the program side, it's similar. So Student Affairs takes the lead, but they also have partners in academic affairs, undergraduate studies, in colleges. So, and our point of kind of sharing all of this is that when it comes to our students and their families, they could not care less. They don't care about our organizational structure. They don't care that there are 6 entities and 3 departments or divisions or what have you. They care that we are one SDSU. And so we're working really hard to kind of create that relationship and that seamless behind-the-scenes aspect. For what they care about, you represent us just as we will represent you when they're first coming to the campus. And so we'll do our best to make sure that that is true. So much so that we work together to create a kind of a joint vision. So this was something that Kara and her team, my team, and the Housing Facility Services folks came together to create this vision. And as you can see, it talks about transformation being dynamic and educationally engaging. We're not just talking about heads and beds. We don't believe that the residential environments are just a place to warehouse students. They're not just a place to sleep. They're really a place that can be transformative. We have seen many times, and Kara and I have been around long enough to be able to see the stories of students who were scared of their own shadow when they first came to campus, and because of the relationships they had on campus in the halls, because of the support that they had from the RAs, the residence hall coordinator, their lives kind of blossomed. They were able to do things that just going to class was not going to help them do. And so we think that this is kind of an important environment for us, and we really believe in this higher mission for what we do. Something that might be interesting for you, from those who like stats, for this last fall we had 4,699 students live with us, and Every year I've been sharing with our team that this is the largest number of SDSU Aztecs living on campus in our history. And again, it's happened. In the last 4 years, we have broken the record from the previous year every single time. And so this year we actually had fewer freshmen, but we had a larger returner campaign. So we had about 300 more folks come back than we did the previous year. So even though we went down in freshmen as a campus, we actually captured more folks in that returner campaign. We have 47 states represented, and I don't know what those 3 are, but I should know those 3 that we don't have represented, and so I'll figure that out. In terms of out-of-state, it's probably not surprising that California is our #1 state, but might be surprising is Washington's #2. You can kind of see the list from top to bottom with everybody else. We have some Washington folks in the house?
No, Colorado.
Okay, there's you go, three, not bad. So again, not surprising, 18 is our median age as a kind of primarily freshman residential program. It does surprise folks is that we have folks who are 16 and folks who are 47 living on campus. Last year we had some folks who were in their 60s living on campus, and people I think in their 50s. So we have quite the spectrum of folks living in our halls and apartments. This is our race and ethnicity breakdown. Similar to the campus, we don't have a majority on campus. And then our gender breakdown. We don't believe this is a true statistic. We know that we get a lot of this information from the CSU Mentor program and the application, and so it doesn't allow for folks to, it requires them to be in the gender binary, and so we know that there's some transgender folks living with us on campus. Again, not surprisingly probably that we are primarily a first-time freshman program, but this rest of this pie is growing quite a bit. So about a quarter of our students are non-freshmen, and this is going to be growing quite a bit as we talk a little bit more about that sophomore live-on requirement in the sophomore success program.
So something important to know is that we do no longer allow students to choose what building they're going to live in. So when they make their housing choices, they are not allowed to pick which building. We feel very strongly about all of our residence halls, and they're all wonderful places to live. Yes, some of them are newer than others, but even some of our older buildings have some of the most amazing community building spaces that really allow students to be successful. So we talk with our students, and we hope you will share the message that it's not about the building, it's about the experience. Students don't necessarily pick their major based on what building it's in, and we shouldn't pick our housing that way as either. So something to know about living on campus. There are many benefits. For students who are living on campus, they tend to have 11% to 13% higher GPA. This is what our data tells us. We've been tracking cohorts since 2005, that freshman cohort, and looking every single year. And this is about where we trend at 11 to 13% increase over students who commute to campus. That is certainly something we've been looking at, and of course the commuters, we've been working on those students and making sure that we have commuter learning communities and things like that. But our residence hall students are still performing better. There's a strong support network living in the residence halls and having those peers right around you living with you, as well as those wonderful mentors in the RAs, the CAs, the academic mentors, the front desk and security managers, the hall coordinators. There's no commute, a very short commute, a walking commute to campus. No costly utility bills. Everything is aligned in one bill, their rent, their food, their utilities. Affordable and time-saving meal plans. A lot of our students, they don't need to cook. They can go to the dining hall or any one of the dining establishments on campus. And of course, there's those close-knit friendships. I love to hear the stories about how students, when they leave our residence halls, go and live in different apartments together with the students that they were living with that freshman year in their residence halls. Those are some of my favorite stories, and I even hear them out on the road when our alumni come and stay with us and talk at the admissions presentations during our recruitment periods. And so this residential requirement, it used to be that it was just the first year students are required to live on campus, and now they'll be required to live on campus for 2 years. Some of the things that we want, again, you all to know is that we very much create and do our best to create, striving to create that academic support environment. We have our residential learning communities, which we'll talk more about in a moment. Of course, all of our residential education staff. Our faculty and residents. We have 11 brave faculty members who live in residence with our students on campus. We have our academic resource labs, the STAR centers. There are 4 currently on campus. And when we bring on South Campus Plaza and get all of that situated, we will have an additional STAR center on campus. And then, of course, our academic incentives programs. We do a lot to incentivize academics and reward students for the good grades that they bring home with them from their classes. These are the sampling of the residential learning communities as they exist today. Apparently the learning community brochures didn't make their way over, so I will make sure that they do so that you have them. That is this current year's offerings. Next year these could change, and as soon as we know, we will let you know. We are currently looking at which ones are most successful, most popular, and which ones maybe not and perhaps need to phase out. But these are the ones that are offered today, and they are in a variety of halls, mostly on the east side. And they do sometimes tend to move just to keep it interesting. Our Life 101 programming model. Again, right now the majority of our population is our first year students. And this is the programming model that we utilize, that the RAs program with. There are 10 different areas that we see as needs for students on their freshman year to learn. Everything from, yes, academic success, things like physical activity and healthy living, independent living skills, things like economic self-sufficiency, and of course, responsible alcohol use, as well as good decision-making around some of those topics. And again, this is just kind of some of the topics because the other one was kind of tiny and perhaps some hostile fonts. So those are the areas of the RAs program. These are where our residence halls are located. Here in this corner is Via Amorato Apartments. We have our east side halls. We have Tenochca, Cuicacali, Zura, and Maya and Olmeca. Across the way, the circularly not quite complete, but so close, is South Campus Plaza, which, as you may have heard, is going to be opening in January. We're going to be moving the students very carefully and strategically from Tenochca over to South Campus Plaza in January. They're very excited. Over here, 81 here on the side, that is University Towers. Across the way, right here, are Granada and Piedra del Sol apartments for our upper division students. Across the way on the west side is Chapultepec Hall, all freshmen, and there are the checks right up there, part of Alberts College. So you see we kind of curve around the campus and that academic buildings. Just to give you an idea of what the rooms look like, in the students when they choose on their application, they can choose a single, this is what it would look like, our doubles, our triples, and our quads.
You hear gas. But the students, ironically, the students love it. We had one student who was like, oh, this doesn't work for me, out of 136 this last couple of years. And so the students who are choosing those triples and quads are students, we have more demand than we have capacity to help them. So it's just kind of like when we talk about residence halls, and you'll get this question all the time, what's the best residence hall? One of the analogies that we'll use is, so who's your best life partner? And the answer kind of begs the question, well, it depends. It depends on what your interests are. Brad Pitt might be your idol, the person that you want to be with. Well, maybe Jolie doesn't think so anymore. So it really depends on what your preferences are and so forth. And so it's really, you have to be careful, especially as an ambassador of our campus, not to say, well, this is the best hall, because it might be the best hall for you, but maybe not for the person in front of you.
And our new buildings are not necessarily perfect. There's a period of time last year where Zura Hall did not have air conditioning for a short period of time, where their friends right next door in good old Tenochca were literally just chilling. So just keep in mind that no building is perfect. They all have their benefits and challenges.
Will South Campus Plaza have quad rooms as well, or is that just going to be in Zura?
Just in Zura.
Okay.
Yeah. And so one of the things that we may do at a later date is find ways to give you guys a tour of South Campus, just so that you know. But essentially, it's going to look like a hotel room. So it's going to be a room. It's going to be a room with a private bath, with a shower and toilet, and then a sink out into the room itself. So very much like you would find at a hotel. So we'll have double and triple occupancy there.
Wait, so you said it was double and triples, maybe?
Yeah. We hope mostly doubles, but it's made so they can have triples as well. So some of our future projects that we're working on, this is something we just launched this last fall, which is our new housing app. You can go to housing.stsu.edu and you can download this yourself. It's a mobile website, essentially. And what we've been told is that a lot of students are like, I have all these things to go to and all these different places, and I don't have a place to do my transactional things. Where do I do a service request? Where do I do check the laundry order so that I can know if my laundry is done? If I want to get my mail, as we get more mail, electronic mail service, we'll be able to use that with this product as well. So students will basically be able to go to this website, do all the different things that you would do on a mobile app, and then be able to have those transactional activities at their fingertips.